facing the Brazilian Dos Santos. And there is Dos Santos. He comes in with a mark of 24-1 with 14 knockouts. 6'1" at 135 pounds. He has won 11 fights in a row, 6 by knockout. That's since his last loss in November of 2009. So tall for a fighter in this lower weight class. Diego Magdaleno, the loss that we referenced since he's been on that win streak. Up against Miguel Gonzalez, also 27 years old, 5'7.5" matched up against the 6'1" fighter from Brazil. He has a record of 21-3 with 15 knockouts. You see the recent work, disappointment against Mike Dallas Jr. on our air back in February of 2012. But let's take it back to his most recent fight. He impressed on Friday Night Fights. The return to the ring on May 2nd. It was after 15 months off. A career best win against former lightweight titleist Miguel Acosta, 10-round unanimous decision against the 35-year-old. Both men were knocked down in the fight. Acosta dropped Gonzalez in the second. Gonzalez came back in the fifth. Here's how he reflects on it.
It was a great fight. I feel that the momentum is going my way with that victory. And it was a tough war, a tough battle, and I came out, took advantage of my opportunities. And here I am today. I'm just grateful to be a part of ESPN once again.
So that is Miguel Gonzalez back in action. Time to see what the fighters need to do to look like a champ. That's brought to you by Just for Men.
Well, let's start with Dos Santos. Use your height, reach, and jab, then look for right hands. And for Gonzalez, move the head and slip past his jab. Land your left hand to his body and head. You have Dos Santos fighting a southpaw, so right hand should work for Dos Santos, and power punches, Gonzalez will be the left hand.
Dan Collins is the referee here in Lincoln, California at the Thunder Valley Casino Resort.
Gonzalez, you just saw in the video, was on the floor in his last fight. He's been involved in headbutts, Joe. I don't know if we're going to see red here, but there's a chance. He was cut over his left eye in his last fight by a head clash. Matter of fact, he's been involved in head clashes in his last 3 fights. Dos Santos was cut over his right eye by a head clash
put him on the table
in his career, so he's been a bit of a Billy Goat himself.
Okay, you're good. You're good. You're good. Docs, go.
Also see how it factors in with the height differential.
Yeah, and the heat.
Oh, he gets right to business early.
Guys better be in shape.
Get that head up.
Attrition is part of all fights, but particularly when you're outdoors in this kind of oppressive heat. The corners better keep their fighters hydrated, let them drink water during the course of the fight so they don't get dehydrated, and keep them cool.
Box out. With the holding.
Teddy, we often hear from many trainers that if you haven't hydrated at this point, sometimes it's too late under circumstances like that. Was that always how you approached it when you knew you were going into a night like this? You start days before?
Well, you better not have been dehydrated, put it that way, to lose weight or to make weight when you're fighting in these kind of hot conditions. That's the most important thing. You're always hydrating, you're right. And you're also carving up, getting carbohydrates before the big event. Storing them. What matters here is, early on, can Dos Santos fight like a tall guy? Right now he's fighting in close like a small guy.
And go.
Was able to land a right hand to the body moments ago against Gonzalez. Oh, Gonzalez doubling up that right hand, sent an uppercut in the mix that scored.
Right here, in the quarters where the shorter man, Gonzalez, wants to be inside, he shouldn't put his hands behind the taller man. Taller man's got long arms, can't use them inside. Gonzalez should keep his hands free inside, not give a pass to Dos Santos. But Dos Santos, early on, ominous. signs for his future in this fight, allowing the shorter Gonzalez to walk right in. And I noticed already, Joe, that Dos Santos squares up when you get close to him. Gives you a lot of surface. Look at his feet. Gets very square. Gives you a lot of surface to attack.
Reminder that all night long you can go to Facebook and click on the Friday Night Fight page and join in with live scoring. Jump in right at the end of each round. At any moment, join in with live scoring. We'll show you how you fans at home compare to Teddy Atlas and eventually the 3 ringside judges.
Look for Dos Santos to try to use the uppercut. As I say, he throws it.
Threw that right uppercut right on cue.
Yeah, because you have a shorter man leaning a little bit. And there's the uppercut again. Dos Santos sees that opportunity now. That's good news for the tall man.
And he just missed with a straight right hand in the Brazilian. Good action here at the end of one as we say hello to Todd Grisham.
Thank you, Joe, and old Blue Eyes himself, Teddy Atlas. You know, one of the most popular Puerto Rican fighters of all time believes he has one more run left in him. Miguel Cotto will be back in action in October. He'll be facing off against Friday Night Fight staple and ESPN employee Delvin Rodriguez, who calls this the biggest fight of his life. Coming up, we'll hear from both fighters as they get set to battle in Orlando, Florida. Plus, Hall of Famer Emil Griffith died earlier this week, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Unfortunately, will be known more for an in-ring tragedy than his in-ring success. Teddy Atlas and Nigel Collins will reflect on that fateful night and Griffith's boxing legacy. Please reach out to me on Twitter at GrishamESPN. I'll reach back out to you. Also, you can get in contact with Nigel Collins and be a part of the show. Log on to our Friday Night Fights Facebook page and score the fights using the scoring app. For now, back out to Joe and Teddy. And yes, Teddy, I just did that my way. That's a Sinatra song, I think.
Back.
Very nicely done, Todd, who is available on Twitter at Grisham ESPN. Teddy, that is the next step in your technology leap in your life. You went to the cell phone. You still use a fax machine at your house, correct?
I'll be on stage singing with a quartet before that happens.
But to go to Twitter and tweet Todd Grisham at Grisham ESPN, the day you do that, you have arrived when it comes to technology, Teddy.
Well, like I said, that'll be the day that I'll be in the Rio, in the lobby, singing.
Round 2 here between Gonzalez and Dos Santos. Gonzalez trained by Mike Stafford back in Cincinnati, who also trains welterweight titleist Adrian Broner.
Gonzalez wants to be in close for obvious reasons. He's got shorter arms, he's shorter of height. He can work better in the trenches, but he's also just physically the bigger man, and he should be in close. I think he's the much bigger man, actually, and he can have physical, maybe. The very thin, wiry Dos Santos, if he can get in close. Gonzalez, his lowest weight, Joe, was 134 in his debut. He has been 144 and 145 pounds 5 times. While Santos he was just 122 pounds in his last fight.
I marvel at that.
I mean, he put 13 pounds on Dos Santos in 2.5 months.
And you look at his frame at 6'1", he says, every time I fight, I'm inspired thinking about Diego Corrales, Chico Corrales, who of course had similar height in these lower weight classes. When we used to call Chico's fights, when he was at 130 pounds, I was always in disbelief looking at his physical stature that he was making 130.
And wiry guys, unlike what some people might think, they think it's the big, broad shoulder guys, but wiry guys usually punch. They get good leverage. Good torque in their punches.
Like snapping a whip.
Exactly. Look for 3 punches, for me anyway, from Dos Santos. One would be the jab to try to control range, which he's not doing a good job of, obviously. As you see, Gonzalez in real close. The other would be a straight right hand against the southpaw. And Dos Santos shows you can switch the southpaw for a second. And the other would be the uppercut. As we saw in the first round, as Gonzalez leans a little. I want Gonzalez to go to the body. He hasn't been going to the body, Joe, and I think he's missing a boat, or he might let that ship sail.
It's quite available body.
Yeah, it's a lot of room to hit that body. It's a thin body. And no better way to take some of the confidence away from those Santos than to bang him down there. Maybe take his legs away a little.
That's it.
Holding on to that left hand is Dos Santos as we come to the end of round number 2 here at Thunder Valley Casino Resort in Lincoln.
5.
ESPN Friday Night Fights is presented by Corona Extra, proud sponsor of Friday Night Fights, and as always encourages you to relax responsibly. And in part by Quikrete. Visit quikrete.com. Quikrete, it's what America's made of. Thunder Valley Casino Resort, 10 years old, just north of Sacramento and Lincoln, California. Nice area, good fight fans who show up for a 6 o'clock local show when the air temperature is 100 degrees and an arena is built on asphalt outdoors, ringside, under the lights, in the sunlight. It's 110, and they're here to support the fight game.
It's amazing how people will come out when they know that I'm going to sing. I mean, it's just,
right.
It's astonishing.
The word was out.
It's astonishing.
Grisham was tweeting again.
That's Todd. He knows how to tweet.
Santos, 24-1 mark, the 27-year-old from Brazil, taking on Miguel Gonzalez, who impressed us recently. We talked about the win against Miguel Acosta, the southpaw from Cleveland. Prior to that win, he hadn't fought in 15 months. That was the longest layoff of his career.
You know, I don't understand Dos Santos, except that maybe he's caving into the pressure of being in the spotlight on this stage, the biggest stage of his career. He's tall, he's long, he's not using that jab at all. He's pushing the jab. And when you push a jab, well, you allow a man to walk right in. And that's exactly what Gonzalez is doing. You need to stab with that jab, snap with that jab.
And Gonzalez content to just stay there shoulder to shoulder. Now a bit of space from Dos Santos. Gonzalez lands a straight left, walks in behind his own right jab and gets him up against the ropes again.
Maybe I do have some of the answers for this. So far, I think not a shining performance, not the right performance so far for Dos Santos. This is only his 3rd fight outside of Brazil. 23-0 in Brazil, 1-1 in the United States. Maybe that tells the story.
Stop! Stop! Get back.
So far, inactivity hasn't hurt Gonzalez. Before his last fight, Joe, he was off 1 year and 3 months.
Had some legal issues. Proven innocent.
Let go!
Bounce back after that disappointing loss to Mike Dallas.
Step back!
I'll tell you one of the technical issues, one of the boxing issues Gonzalez has. He likes to depend on that left hand. Likes to look for that
Stop!
most of the time.
Let go!
You can see he even reaches in with the left hand a little out of sorts there, a little off balance.
And Dos Santos just took 2 steps backwards and didn't fill that void when he had an available Gonzalez coming in at him.
Exactly right, Joe. I mean, when you're the taller man, 2 things you want to do. You want to draw a line in the canvas and keep the man at the end of your jab. And if he stays there, catch him with shots, and then change that line a little bit. Take a step back at the right time, at the right distance, ahead of your man. And then get your man, try to entice him to reach. Create holes, and then fill those holes. Gonzalez losing his trunks a little bit, but winning the round.
And a 3. Hot afternoon, early evening here in Lincoln, California. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas ringside. The air temperature here tonight for Friday Night Fights outdoors is 98, but ringside in the direct sunlight, it's registering at 110. And just before we went on the air, the surface temperature of the ring mat was 132. Let's look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard as we start round 4 here. And Cleveland's Miguel Gonzalez with a 30-28 lead, according to Teddy. You, the fans at home, have Gonzalez up 3 rounds to zip. You can go to Facebook, Friday Night Fight page, click on live scoring, jump in at any time. We open up at the end of each round. The last 20 seconds into the next round give you a chance to vote and score each round individually. And you don't have to stay with us all night for that. Jump in at any time.
Oh, jumping in at any time. Gonzalez heard this, and he's jumping in.
And now Dos Santos is tying up.
Being allowed to jump in is Gonzalez, paying no price when he jumps in. Dos Santos not set with his feet, moving around, surviving, flicking a jab. There he throws a nice uppercut.
Lead uppercut from Dos Santos as Gonzalez came
Go.
The problem for Dos Santos, he doesn't know how to keep distance, keep separation. He needs to keep separation with a man who's shorter.
Let him go. Stop.
And a man who has short arms and wants to be in close, and that's Gonzalez. Little headbutt. I talked about head clashes before this fight started, and there's on first.
And it's Gonzalez reaching towards his mouth after that clash of heads.
You good?
Yeah, Gonzalez, as I said, been involved in head clashes in 3 fights.
That headbutt.
And in head clashes in his last 2 fights. You can see Gonzalez will lean forward. He'll get out of control with a Joe. Fall in.
Talking
about falling. Dos Santos lets himself go down for a minute.
Teddy, as we get deeper into the last minute of this 4th round, you'll notice how the light has changed from the view you have at home. You can see the glare of the sun coming down at a lower angle. And what's about to happen is create a unique danger and potentially a disadvantage for one of the fighters. And that is if a fighter goes to the far left corner, to the red corner of your screen, the sun will be directly in his eyes, potentially blinding a punch coming at him. We've seen that before.
Holding.
There's a point deduction here now as Dan Collins takes a point away from Dos Santos for excessive holding. But right now, the sun is just creeping below the signage to the far side of the ring. And it potentially, when they're in the red corner to the left that you see there, it can blind them if their back is to it.
Yeah, I brought this up before when we've been outside. You're exactly right. You have to position yourself and be aware where you are when you're in that ring, not facing that sun.
Juan Carlos Burgos is coming up in the main event against Jacobo Amido. Bernardo Osuna is standing by in the locker room.
Thanks, Joe. He's taken the fight at 135 as a concession to his opponent who couldn't make the 130-pound weight class, where this man has already fought for 2 world titles. He's got unfinished business at 130. He says he wants to go down there and take on the winner of a proposed fight between Rocky Martinez, who he had a draw against in a world title fight, or the winner of Mikey Garcia in that fight. But the other thing is, for the first time in his career, he's going to have his uncle, Victor Burgos, in his corner. How important is that for him? This man had brain surgery in 2007 after a fight with Vic Darchinyan in LA. Fortunately, he's fully recovered, and he says that's inspiration for tonight's main event here on Friday Night Fights.
Thank you, Bernie. Victor Burgos, his uncle, former IBF junior flyweight world champion. The incident with Darchinyan happened back in March 2007. Scary scene as Burgos was taken from the ring on a stretcher, underwent the surgery, and he will be with his nephew tonight. We were talking about the sun and the glare and the potential danger. That's what a fighter would be staring back at if he gets pinned in the far corner to the left. Keep that in mind. Want to stay away from that red corner to the left of your screen right now.
Dos Santos has been penalized for fouls, different things in fights before. He's already lost a point tonight.
There's a warning for a clash of heads, and then the excessive holding came in, and now Gonzalez firing off a 3-punch combination and scoring.
Right. Step back, step back, step back.
Dan Collins, the referee, is earning his keep here in our co-feature.
Let him go, let him go.
Well, right now, it looks like Dos Santos a little bit desperate, just looking for uppercuts. Not a bad choice, but the problem is the first choice isn't there.
Box out,
to
come
keep
on, box out.
separation where he can be in control on the outside. That's where winning has to start if Dos Santos is going to win.
There's a right uppercut, digs in with the left. That was blocked by Gonzalez.
Come on, let him go. Box out.
Collins urging them to let the hands go on the inside.
Right now, not a confident place, not mentally, and I always talk about the mental dimension of this business being 75% of it. Mentally, Dos Santos, although he's doing better here, not showing the kind of consistency, the kind of confidence, with the kind of fight, the game plan that he needs to fight. And maybe part of that lack of confidence is for the reason that Dos Santos' only loss in his career was to a southpaw.
Teddy, look at those jab numbers there. Dos Santos landing 4. You're 6'1", and you've landed 4 jabs so far.
Let go!
And you've only thrown 33.
And again,
No, quit throwing.
Dos Santos only lost to a southpaw, and it seems like maybe he's having some nightmares, bad memories, being in that ring again with a lefty.
CompuBox really showing you what Teddy put forth early, and Dos Santos has been unable to execute on.
So even now, when you see him moving and trying to make an adjustment to stay on the outside, it's a desperate adjustment by Dos Santos, and it's only temporary.
Let me go. Stop.
So he comes off those toes, and then Gonzalez closes the gap.
Let him up.
Lead right again by Dos Santos. End of 5. We're going to take a short break. Hot glare of that California sun here for Friday night fights in Lincoln, California. Round 6 between Dos Santos and Gonzalez. Two 27-year-olds. Dos Santos, the 6'1" Brazilian at 24-1 against Gonzalez, who had himself a good run in the amateurs, promise as a young pro, and then things fizzled a little bit and feels like he's trying to gain some momentum here coming off the win against Miguel Acosta.
Talking about feels like, I wonder how it feels like for Dos Santos right now being the heaviest of his career. At least that is for weights that we have listed on his record. We don't have every weight listed on his record, but as I said earlier, Dos Santos 13 pounds more than he was in his last fight.
Let him go.
Scorecards here as we start the 6th round. Teddy has it 49-46. Remember, the point deduction in the 4th round came for excessive holding. And the Facebook fan scoring Gonzalez a clean sweep.
And you see the desperation attached to the uppercut of Gonzalez. That's what he's looking for. Or I should say Dos Santos. That's what he's looking for. I don't want to say to get lucky, but I'll say to get lucky. He's looking to just nail Gonzalez with a big shot and stop some of the momentum that Gonzalez has. Instead of doing it the right way, the disciplined way, the consistent way, the winning way. Stand in the middle of the ring and make the guy respect your jab. Keep him at the end of it and control that range. He's not doing that. Gonzalez in close where he wants to be.
So Santos was fortunate to have rolled with that left hand moments ago. The CompuBox numbers really showed us the issue he's having and the lack of production with the jabs.
Maybe another headbutt. At least that's the way Dos Santos either falling apart or he got hit with a headbutt. Are we seeing, I think maybe we are, another fighter from Brazil with a great record get exposed?
At some point, it happens often. Only the few survive that not happening, and we've seen it so many times with the South Americans who come stateside, and this ends up being the result. No. There's a warning for punching behind the head from Collins now.
You know, you forgot to say one thing, Joe. Great job tonight. One thing. You talked about how it could be dangerous or difficult for the fighters when they're in a certain position to see. You forgot to mention the commentators. Getting a little hard to see over here, guys. We might need Todd to do a little singing. Take a look at the action so far tonight. It's been mostly Gonzalez. Why? Well, look where he is. He's in close with the taller man, and the taller man keeps his hands down. Oh, I'm sure Gonzalez will thank him later at the end of the night. You saw right there the left hand of Gonzalez. Well, that's his best punch.
Remember, Joe Santos came in having won 11 in a row, 6 by knockout.
Back up, stop!
Last loss was when he was last in the States to Diego Magdaleno back in 2009. Lost an 8-round decision.
Let go!
His co-feature scheduled for 10 rounds here.
Don't go anywhere yet. Even though I see dissipation, I've seen it all night from Dos Santos. Not really set with the right
Punch out.
I want to say
Watch the
fight plan,
shoulder.
but also mind plan. You have to have your mind ready
Go!
to step up and keep a stronger, shorter
Watch out.
guy off you. The technical stuff is only good if the mental stuff is there. But don't go anywhere. Gonzalez, like I said, he was on the floor in his last fight. And
let go.
if nothing else, Dos Santos is desperate and he's winging some shots at him.
Punch out! Punch out!
That last fight was a much-needed win in the career of Miguel Gonzalez against Acosta. Both men hit the canvas in that fight. As Gonzalez went on to win a 10-round decision.
You know, here's an interesting point. We've already pointed out that the fighters, when they're in a certain position, they can't see. It's that simple. When they're facing the sun, we can't see.
I cannot look into the ring right now, Teddy.
And here's more important than us not being able to see. The judges can't see. Sometimes when these judges, especially the ones that are in the same side,
The
that we
judge
are,
right opposite us has the best view.
Step back.
But the two on the sides, especially the one to the far left,
Exactly.
there are numerous times he's going to be blinded by the action.
Let go!
Yeah,
Let
the
go!
The bad news is he can't see. The good news, he's going to have a built-in excuse.
Stop!
If this is a crazy
break,
decision,
step
but I
back.
don't expect a crazy
Step back.
decision.
Dan Collins, referee, showing some signs of frustration with how much he's having to deal with these two.
But all joking aside, it is difficult for the judges in certain viewpoints
Go.
during the fight to really see what's going on.
Watch out!
I mean, of course, if you listen to me enough, you would know already, Joe, that I think it's difficult for some of these judges to see even when it's clear and cloudy out.
That's right.
I don't know if it's such a thing as clear and cloudy, but
Go with it.
I think you get the point. When there's no sun shining in your eyes. And right now, there's no jab and there's no distance by Dos Santos, and Gonzalez is inside, just nothing fancy, nothing scintillating, but he's the boss.
Now we're coming to the end of round number 7. We are working our way towards our main event that features one of the best 130-pounders in the world, Juan Carlos Burgos, taking on Yakubu Amidou. Bernardo standing by in Amidou's locker room.
Thank you very much, Joe. Amidou is coming off of 2 straight losses, including one here on Friday Night Fights against Ji-Hoon Kim, against who he was cut. Let's take a look now at the fighter facts for Yakubu. Born in Accra, Ghana, a small tribal cut on his left cheek. He was in the 2004 and 2 cents. His father was a boxer, and his brother Abdullah is an undefeated welterweight who will be working his corner. Co-managed by actor Vince Vaughn, who joins the list of athletes and Hollywood stars involved in the sweet science. It's a 21-0 undefeated welterweight who will be in the for the his brother Frio.
Thank you, Bernardo, as we look forward to seeing Amidou in our main event against Burgos. You know, I know he's lost 2 straight, but there was a lot to like in that effort against Ji-Hoon Kim. Highly entertaining fight that we brought you back in January of 2012.
Vince Vaughn, the manager of Amidou, the actor, wonder if he's going to pass the test of showing great loyalty as a manager. Is he here with all this heat?
Vince Vaughn has showed up to many Friday night fights brought. In fact he's even joined us
Yeah, but he's
ringside.
never been asked to show up for one when it was 110. Okay, Joe?
On an arena built on asphalt.
Let's get right to it. That's what I want to say.
So you think that's going to test the Hollywood in him?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, exactly. I want to see if he fails or he passes. I like to see people test how they behave when there's a little difficulty. We're finding out right now, how does Dos Santos, who was 24-1 coming in here with 14 knockouts, how does he behave when there's some difficulty?
There's the total punches according to CompuBox.
Watch the feet.
Gonzalez has been dominating tonight. 200 landed compared to Dos Santos 95. Big story also has been the lack of production with a jab from the 6'1" Dos Santos.
Box out. Come on.
You know, Dos Santos not doing a good job. I've been saying that for a long time, but Gonzalez could be doing a better job, quite honestly. He gets inside. He's not constantly working.
Nope.
He's allowing himself sometimes to take a little rest. Now he's working a little bit. But before he was putting his hands behind Dos Santos, not working as he does there. See, for me, no excuse for that.
Left hand landed flush that time from Gonzalez. Now he goes to the body in the midst of a 4-punch combination.
See, right now, Gonzalez on the inside, Joe. It's not a question of what he can do. Look, just look. It's a question of what does he want to do. That's really all it is. What does Gonzalez want to do when he's inside? Now, what can he do?
Hold
I mean, the landscape is there for him to do whatever he wants to do. He's got a tall guy doing nothing inside.
And he lets him go right through the front door again and get after him. He turns his back.
That's what
Body
I'm talking
shot
about.
lands.
But that was close to a foul, that one. But he was on his way down already.
6, 7, 8.
That's it.
And he's giving up.
Knockout victory for Miguel Gonzalez.
See, there's not a lot of pure knockouts in this business. Knockout, a pure one is you get hit a punch you don't see and you can't register it, you can't control yourself, you're gone. That one, you make choices and you slowly allow yourself to just go. And Dos Santos allowed himself to go.
8th round KO scored by Miguel Gonzalez, who, as we told you, had the long layoff in his career, had the disappointing loss, came back in Friday night fights and comes up with a how important it was in his career to continue to impress. A 27-year-old moving his mark now to 22-3.
Ohio in the building.
Let's go back and take a look as to how he finished off Dos Santos, Teddy.
Well, he was allowed to get inside, and then he threw a nice hard body shot. Dos Santos was just evaporating in front of us, like I say quite often, like a puddle on a hot summer day, and gets hit in the body. He runs away. He's already on his way down, and then here's the left hand to the body in what they call super slow-mo. And when you hit a guy in the body and he runs to the other side of the corner and he falls down, well, I guess this is what you do. You get up on the ring and you say, I won.
The extremely talented Ray Flores has the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes, 27 seconds of the 8th round. The referee in charge puts a halt to this contest for your winner by technical knockout, Miguel Silky Smooth Gonzalez.